The European transfer window has really sprung into life, and a big kind of catalyst for all that happening is the Premier League money getting slushed around Europe. And Brighton have went, in my estimations, from being maybe on the ropes. Maybe this might be the season where the strategy and the changing managers, changing the players all the time might eventually blow up in their face. But we've already seen with the first game of the season that the new manager seems to have, acclimatised well enough. And with some of the transfer business that's already been done, Matt Sweefer, Jorginho Rutter, the next wave of transfers Brighton have lined up could really propel them properly into the top six. In the video today, we'll be talking about the prospective Brighton transfers of Matt O'Reilly, Boscagli, and Ferdi Kadioglu, if that's how you say it. At any point in the video today, if you do laugh, you learn, you cry, you like something, whatever, please do like and subscribe to the channel for more content like this as we cover all the headline transfers throughout the windows. We get set for, and we're kind of in it already, the biggest season of European football ever. And get into the comment section in this one and let me know, when you see this Brighton team and how it's shaping up, like, how far could they climb up the table? Are they maybe even an outside top four shout? With such a young team and such a young manager, it sounds like a far cry. But when you see the quality of the team, we'll get into it in the video anyway. Yeah, let's just get stuck straight into it. Come on. Now, I can profess to have a great working knowledge on a lot of the Brighton squad here, because Brighton really do stretch the net far and wide and really do pick up really unknown players from lots of different clubs and leagues around world football. And they've kind of done that again with their manager, following in the footsteps of De Zerbi. Fabian Hurziller is the next in that succession plan that Brighton have had, of always kind of lining up the next option before the incumbent is moved on or eventually leaves. And similar to De Zerbi, upon this appointment, I was kind of nervous for Brighton that this seems like a bit of a gamble. This might not work out, because Graham Potter had played a really distinct style of football. De Zerbi's football seemed to evolve that, which seemed to be fantastic. And, it was only one game in, but I don't think this guy is like a square peg in a round hole. The Brighton team seems very functional from the first match. And when we come to actually look at the squad, I underestimated how many players they actually had on their books at the moment. As best as I can see, Mahmoud Dahoud is on the books. So if he's not there anymore, it's had a loan or something that's not been quite caught yet. Apologies for that. Not a fan of him in any case. But Enciso, Sarmiento, Adringa, Gruda, Modar, Yauculi, Ayari, and Baleba, who has, I've seen him a wee bit when he was in France. It's a really busy actual engine room here, lots of different profiles of players. And with the main kind of system that we've seen at the weekend, this kind of 4 in attack, complemented by the fact that Jorginho Rutter is firmly now in competition for 2 places here, and maybe there's some alterations that could happen throughout the season depending on form and fitness and all the rest of it. I think this is going to be the sort of attacking attitude, the attacking route to go of these front 4 players, the width from wide, and then the 2 players not quite playing as a 2 but definitely helping each other out in the attacking phase is going to be Brighton's kind of route to go, which means then this kind of network they're building at the back, from playing out from Bart Verbruggen when fit and available, is going to be really important to how they beat the better teams in the league, because I think the quality they've got here firmly puts them in and around mid-table anyway. So the transfers they're looking to make should be trying to get them into European football from the way, this season's shaking out. There's so many really strong squads. The floor on quality and calibre that you need in your best 11, and really for the next 4 or 5 players just behind that, is really lifted across the league in this window. And that's why the next 3 signings that come in potentially take them to that sort of spot. Matt Sweefer, I've got a big bit of faith in, could make that step up to the Premier League. And for me, James Milner has to be the first name on the team sheet of overlooked players in the Premier League, or whatever the term would be, unsung heroes or whatever. The amount of seasons he's clocked, the honours he's got, how amazing he is at football, all the kind of appreciation he gets from teammates, former teammates, managers, that sort of thing. He's very, very underrated. But at 38 years of age, he's probably going to feature like maybe 90% of the matches in the league, but how many of them is he going to start is a totally different question. Baleba's much more of a defensive midfielder. And like I say, a lot of these other guys I can't really speak on. But the introduction of Matt O'Reilly into this field really does change the entire complexion. Matt O'Reilly, throughout his time at Celtic, has always played in a midfield 3. And throughout the different injury crises and availability and the fixture pile-up and Champions League and all the rest of it that's happened, he's found himself really playing in this type of system already. The base of a 2, where he is also required to get into the final third, whether that be travelling in possession or when the ball's elsewhere in the pitch, picking up big pockets of space where he can be effective effective to go and try and find the attacking players that will go on to actually finish the chance, as well as appearing on the edge of the box for some shots and all the rest of it. Now, I've been hearing a lot of, like, because Billy Gilmour is now going to Napoli, and people were saying, like, Brighton are waiting for Billy Gilmour to go, so, like, he's a Billy Gilmour replacement or whatever. Matt O'Reilly is much, much more of a Pascal Gross replacement for me than anything else, because at Celtic, he's taken tons of set pieces. Of course, that was Pascal Gross's main kind of job when he was there. And maybe there's a few players here that think they're the heir to the throne of Pascal Gross for free kicks and corners and all the rest of it. But O'Reilly can be that guy 100%. Now, as much as I think alongside Matt Sweefer or Baleba, whoever might, or even playing alongside Milner instead of Milner, I think O'Reilly can do a great job in this engine room, bringing the ball from defence into attack and contributing in the final third himself. I could see this working out really, really well for any games where maybe Baleba was going to play as well, or Milner would play as well. Maybe a game where Brighton suspect they'll have less possession. You could have very easily Matt O'Reilly up in this attacking midfield spot here, supporting the striker. Some of his best football he's played for Celtic has been in that KDB, Kevin De Bruyne role, where he is like, he's not up front, but he definitely helps with the front press. He's good at cutting off passing lanes. He's really smart in that sense in terms of like on-pitch IQ. And if you've got like Weaver behind him and then like a Baleba or a Milner or whatever, like that can be a quality midfield that is good strength, composed on the ball. And then O'Reilly like knows where the back of the net is. He's a very effective final third player, which, you know, maybe is something that Weaver doesn't quite have. Milner's obviously passed. And really, like I say, in Ciso, Gruda, some of these guys I'm not too well aware of, so I'm happy to take contributions in the comments section from you guys to get me up to speed on them. But I don't think there's as much recognised final third presence or ability from them. So this O'Reilly transfer would really complete this best 11, I think, for Brighton. It would make it properly like a top half team here. And given it the correct amount of flexibility where O'Reilly could play in a number of different positions that will allow other players to play if you need different strengths in the team. But like I mentioned in the intro, it's not just Matt O'Reilly. There's another two super exciting, super ambitious transfers that Brighton are trying to pull off. In at right back, it's Ferdi Kadioglu. Now, Ferdi, the Dutch youth international, Turkish senior international, defensive midfielder come right back, currently at Fenerbahce, has got lots of fans all across European football. For those people that pay attention to all the kind of wonder kids that are up and coming and who's breaking into national teams and who could be the next best transfer. I think he's been linked to Man United and a few other bigger clubs, I say bigger with air quotes obviously, around Europe over the last couple of years. And this is a right back that, like I say, is formerly a defensive midfielder. So if somebody like O'Reilly is going to get further up the pitch, then, you know, it could be some sort of wacky, maybe it's a Stupian, maybe they play something like a Webster and then off the ball they turn into a back three or something. But, like, you know, they have a lot of options here and a lot of guys that are really smart in possession and are used, you know, with O'Reilly, with Ferdi, and with Boscagli, who, don't know who he would really come in for here. Let's just say Van Heck. Maybe Boscagli helps us become a back three. I think out of all of them that we're talking about, I don't think Boscagli walks into the team. Certainly, I think he's maybe got a wee bit more to prove, to get ahead. Like, there's a good amount of competition here. You know, Webster, Van Hecke, Igor even, these guys have all been handy enough in the Premier League. Veltman can play in that back three system also. So I wouldn't be surprised if something like that happens. But I think Ferdi almost certainly walks into the team. Matt O'Reilly almost certainly walks into the team. And even if like Boscagli does come in as well, this triangle here is potentially up there with some of the best in the league for build-out play. And then when you've got this pace and this incision from the likes of Minte, Pedro, Welbeck, Rutter, Mitoma, and then some of these second string guys like Enciso, I know has been exciting in moments, but I'm not too sure where he's at. Adringa, who can play right or left, so we'll see where he does kind of end up most of the time. They're going to score so many goals. They're going to cut open a lot of defences. And like, seriously, like, this is a team that's already halfway built to be able to compete in European football with the size of the roster. Like, if Brighton had to play, like, they had to go on a cup run and take it really seriously, or if they were in Europa League or something like that this year, like, the squad, you can imagine a lot of them rotating quite comfortably, quite easily, and Brighton are doing a lot of really good forward planning. Again, a lot of players at a really good stage in their career with credible experience of, especially Boscagli, also, you know, winning titles, playing in the Champions League, playing for possession-dominant sides that expect to win every game. And that's what makes some of these transfers, or these three in particular for me, next level exciting. Because if you look at every other club, and, you know, I'm not going to list them, but all the clubs throughout the 21st century, whatever it is we're in there now, since the millennium, Chelsea and Liverpool, City, everyone that's, and even Newcastle when they've done it in spells, Everton when they've done it in spells, every team that comes out of the mid-table, comes out of the bottom half or whatever, and does get some sort of establishment up in the top 6 or 7, like Brighton have had a sniff of already, have that experience of being a winner somewhere. I think that's one thing that Welbeck definitely brought when he came into the club initially, was like a bit of that Premier League big club experience, having played at Arsenal and Man United. And although when you're trying to buy youth players, you know, you still want that kind of thing, it's really, really hard to come by. Even Mitoma won like 2 or 3 leagues in a row before coming to Belgium and then Brighton. So, and again, Weaver has won the title in Holland. So the more title winners, the more kind of guys that expect to, it doesn't matter who we are playing against today. Like, we are a great team. And in some cases, they'll tell themselves, we are the better team. And, you know, go out and we're going to get it over the line. We're going to make sure it gets done. That's something that's really hard to quantify in football. Statistics don't really capture other than the honours list, of course. And it's something that I think for a lot of aspirational clubs really undervalue. But with the profile of player that we've got here, O'Reilly, Boscagli, Ferdi, Weaver, Mitoma, all the rest of it, if I was to tell you you've got a squad of, 15 players in their mid-20s and they've all won multiple league titles and they've played in Champions League and all the rest of it, you would say, yeah, that sounds fantastic. And the reason for that is just that mentality that they absolutely bring. And I do think Milner, I've tried to give him his minute because I'm a big fan of him, but he's got a bit of a role to play in here as well as that league veteran, that he can sub in for a lot of these guys, carry the load, and help them get to the level of what's required to be at the very tippy top of the mountain. And I think that experience also does play into everything else we're saying in terms of the appetite, the ambition that this entire squad is going to have for where they are at in their career and the collective strength of them all. Brighton, for me, if they complete these 3 moves, are mad exciting this year. I'll be really excited to catch the comments on this one to see what your thoughts and feelings are. Are there any other transfers that I've kind of missed out on, pending incomings and outgoings, whatever? I'm really excited to catch the contributions on this one. So next time we cover Brighton, we're a bit more up to speed as we follow them and everyone else that we're following on the channel here with all the headline transfers, the Premier League season, post-match, pre-match analysis and everything else in between. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button on screen and now some other stuff that I've made that YouTube thinks you might enjoy. Stay out of trouble and I will catch you on the next one.